Hello and welcome to this Pygame tutorial. Today we are going to be creating a screen that has a title that bounces around, and I'll show you the example of it. So basically it'll have a green sign with white letters saying tic-tac-toe and buy Edsoft, and it'll bounce off the edges of the screen. We'll also have the title up here. So let's get started. So I use Pycharm, and you guys are welcome to use Pycharm. I find that it imports modules very easily and it's pretty user friendly. So first thing we are going to do, import Pygame. Now if you'll notice, it's underlined red, which means that it has not installed this. If we'll just let our cursor hang over it, it'll give us the option to install. So show us our status down here, give it a minute. Okay, now that it's done, we will go ahead and start our code. So let's come down here and do pygame.font.initialize, and we want to make sure to call this. That'll initialize our font. Next we want to set up some variables, so we'll do s_width for screen width, and we'll set that at 800, and s_height, and we'll set that at 800 as well. Now you can combine these variables if you'd like. So we can just set a comma here and go like s_height. Clear that out. Put a comma. And just do that. And that plugs that for that variable and that for that variable. I like to do this because it kind of consolidates it all together. Makes it a little bit more tidy. Next variable we want to create is when equals pygame.display.setMode. This is going to set our screen size, so we want to use those variables we just used, so we'll do s_width, s_height. Make sure you have two sets of parentheses here, because it's actually got to plug it in as a tuple. Alright, so next what we want to do is we want to create our main function. So what we'll do is we'll go def main colon, and then inside of this we want to create our font. So do font equals pygame.font.sysfont, then open quotes, put in Comic Sans, comma, and then 60. That'll be our size. You can adjust this as you like. We'll leave it at 60 for now. Next what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create our while loop. So we'll do while run. And then we want to update the screen as it runs this. So we'll do pygame.display.update. Now you'll notice that it's got red underneath the run. That's because we haven't actually defined run yet. So what I like to do is I like to come down here at the bottom of our code, and that way after everything is created, I want it to run this after it's defined this. What we'll do is call it, so we'll do main, and in here we will create a keyword argument. Call it run equals true. Then if we come up here to our function, we just plug run in here. But automatically create this as true, so that'll make the while loop as soon as this is called start running. So let's give that a try. Play, screen comes up, looks good, but we don't like that it says Pygame window up here. We want it to say tic-tac-toe. So let's hit stop, and we can pretty much put this right here, or we can put it up here. So just to be neat, let's just put it right here above the call for the main function. So we'll do pygame.display.setCaption, and we'll do tic-tac-toe. Just to make it neater, we will go ahead and give it another space. So let's try that. Play. Now it says tic-tac-toe up here. So that's pretty neat. Now we can put our name on our game. So we'll force it to stop. Did you notice that when we're playing this, it's not easy to close? If you hit the X, it's not responding. It gives you a lot of problems. and then you do this, or you can hit stop over here and force it. We want it to be easier. So in our while loop, while it's running, it keeps on running this no matter what. We want to create events in this. So we want to go for event in pygame.event.get. What we can do here is we can go if event.type double equals, and we want to do pygame.keyDown, all caps, colon, if event.key equals pygame.k, and we want to use the escape key. So let's use this. Then we will go run equals false and pygame.quit. So basically, whenever we run this now, we should be able to hit the escape key on our keyboard and it will stop the game. Let's try it out, hit escape, and it closes it out. So that makes it a little bit easier, a little cleaner, and it's a lot more helpful instead of having to force close all this. Okay, so we got the black screen down, which is great, but we want the title and we want it to bounce around. So let's create these labels. Okay, so we could create it inside of the run loop, or we could create it up here. The problem with creating it inside of the run loop is if you do that, it's going to constantly create it every single time, and it's going to be a lot more work for your computer. So instead, we'll go ahead and create it one time before the while loop. So let's go label equals font.render, and we'll do quotes tick tack toe true for anti-aliasing, and then our color, which is our text color, we want it to be white for this, and then our background color we want to be green. So make sure this is inside of the quotes. You can put in different color formats if you want to, but I find it easier just to use a string for the basic colors like green, white, black, orange, all of that. Okay, so we created our label now, but for some reason when we press play, it doesn't show up. That's because we have to blit this onto the screen. So we'll do win.blit, then we will do label, comma, then we got to create a tuple, and we have to actually set this to a position on the screen. So let's call this XY, that way we can change it. So let's create these variables right now. Let's go up here and we'll go X, comma, Y equals, and let's just set them at 200, comma, 200. Now let's see if it shows up. There it is. We have tic-tac-toe. Escape out, but we want that to move. So the best way I've found to do this is to create another set of variables. So we'll call these A, comma, B, and we'll make these 1, comma, 1. Now how do we get this to change? Well, what we can do is we can go X plus equals A. And what this does is every time we go through this while loop, it's going to add 1, which is very fast, by the way. It's going to be as fast as your computer processes it. So I will show you. See how it just stretches? And it also leaves this green streak here. The way to get rid of this green streak is you need it to redraw a black background every single time it processes. So we'll take care of this one problem at a time. So right before our screen updates, we want to win.fill, and we'll do black. And now let's see what happens. Still black screen. Well, what are we doing wrong here? The problem is we've got this blitted after the screen update. So what we need to do is we need to put this up here. And then we will move our black screen up here as well. Because Python reads the code straight down. You've got to tell it exactly what order to do things in. So let's try that out. There it goes. Now we got it to go off the screen, but that went very fast. Let's slow it down. So if we want to do that, we can actually make it go half or even a quarter of the speed. I think a quarter of the speed is going to work the best. So let's go 0.25. That's better. Now we got the X to do what we needed it to do. Let's get the Y to do the same thing. So we'll do Y plus equals B. And let's see how that goes. Just sends it right off the screen. What we want it to do is we want it to hit the edge of the screen, bounce if it's on the right side or the left side. Also, we still have the B variable set at 1. So let's set that to 25 as well. That's better, but it goes off the screen. So what we want it to do is we want it to go, hey, I'm over here on the edge. Let's go ahead and bounce back the other way. So let's go if 0 is greater than or equal to X, or X is greater than or equal to screen width minus, we're going to guess the label pretty close to 350 in size. Basically, if 0 is bigger than X, meaning it goes further to the left of the screen, or X is bigger than the width of the screen plus the label, what we want it to do is we want it to go backwards. In order to do that, we can take that A variable and we can make it times -1, and that'll make it go negative 0.25 every time the computer processes this. So what we'll do is we'll do A equals A times -1. So let's see how that works. Let's hit play. Bounced off the right, but it went on down out of the screen. That's because we didn't do it with the Y yet. So next what we'll do is we'll do if 0 greater than or equal to Y, or Y is greater than or equal to as height, for screen height, minus 180. Then we'll do the same thing that we did with the A variable. So we'll do B equals B times -1. So let's see how that works. Bounced off that edge. Still pretty far off the bottom, isn't it? So you can take this down if you want. You can do 10 or 100. Just play with the variables. That looks pretty good. Still not perfectly to the edge, but it'll work. So say we want to put our brand underneath it, like Edsoft. What we need to do is we need to go underneath our label here, and let's create a label 2. We'll do font.render, and we'll do by Edsoft. True. And here we are going to use red font, and we'll use a white background. Now if you hit play, you'll be like, wait, it's not showing up. That's because we have to blit it. So what we'll do is we'll go under this, and we'll do when.blit label 2. Then we can use 100, 100, and set a location if we wanted to, and just have it set in there. Or we can make it follow this. The way we want to do this is we want to do X and Y, but we don't want it to cover it up like that. We want it to be slightly below it. So with our Y, let's just add 60 to it. Okay, that's not going to work. Let's try 100. Still got a gap. Don't like it. So let's try 80. That looks pretty good. But now our second label is going off the screen. So let's adjust that as well. So let's put this at 180. There you have it. That looks pretty good.
Hey guys, Ed here. If you got value from this video, make sure to leave us a comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks, and have the best day of your life.